My good friend Sean Sticks Larkin joins me now. He's a retired sergeant with the Tulsa, Oklahoma Police Department. He's well known for his appearances on the shows Live PD and On Patrol Live on the Reels channel. We have worked together on those shows. So first I'll start here. As a fellow officer, my heart goes out to you and your brothers. I'm so sorry that we're doing this tonight, you and me, but this is reality. And I think if there's anyone who can explain to the viewers, Sean, what it's like for officers to have to serve a warrant, it is never easy. It is never safe.
No, absolutely right, Ashleigh. And listen, I've been on, honestly, well in excess of 1,000 search warrants during my career. You know, I was a police officer almost 25 years, worked with the gang unit the last 13. I was involved in narcotics, and we ran regular search warrants. And I will say, before every warrant, there's a search warrant briefing where every single person, every officer, every deputy that is part of that entry, that containment, they are given an assignment. And then you go through what we call an officer down drill. You talk about if shots are fired, this is what we're going to do. If an officer gets shot, this is the route we're going to take to the hospital. So there is this planning that goes into it, beforehand. But I was a search warrant. I was a police officer in a city. The rural stuff that we see right here, those are the type of search warrants that personally scare me because, as you mentioned before, the suspect allegedly was lying out there waiting somewhere, whether it was at the house, somewhere along the path towards the house. We don't know yet, but it can come from anywhere. And that's the difficulty of doing this type of a rural search warrant. This township only has 10,000 people where this thing happened at. So I can only imagine what that community is feeling right now, having, 3 officers killed, 2 others injured. In 2020, we lost an officer in Tulsa. And we're an 800 plus man police department, and it crushed us. So I can only imagine what they're going through there right now.
I'm just looking at these cornfields, and I grew up in the wheat fields of Winnipeg. It's real rural outside the city limits, and I always thought it was safer once you get out of the city and you get into these rural areas. Do these officers feel any safer when they are going? And let me tell you, this is like 2.5 miles down a country road they were going to serve this warrant. Did they let their guard down because it seems like a more halcyon environment when you get out there?
Obviously there's going to be intelligence that they have on the suspect that would lead them, what they think, how violent this person can be based on interviews, prior histories, calls to that house, and so forth. No police officer should ever go to any type of call, stop any car for a traffic violation and just think everything's going to be fine. You always have to be forward thinking, if something happens, this is what my reaction is going to do. This is where I'm going to get to. But again, there are so few details out about this, but just as you mentioned, it's a domestic, violence type call. From the few things that I was able to find online, officers had it was in relation to something that had happened yesterday. And, if they're coming to arrest this guy and he has made a determination that, hey, I'm not going to go to jail, and he's lying in wait. And this is also another assumption. I'm assuming he had a rifle because, police officers are, serving search warrants. They're going to have ballistic vests on, possibly helmets. And pistol rounds are not going to go through those vests. And there's just no way that I can see 3 officers, executed, 2 others critically wounded by just a pistol from whatever distance. I'm assuming, once the information comes out, we're going to find out he had, some sort of a high-powered rifle waiting.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.